Salutations, I'm Lexi, and today I'm going to talk about my trip to Europe. This was my first time outside the US, so when I walked around after landing in Rome, I was hyper aware of the differences between home and here. The narrow streets, rooftop views, Vespa to car ratio, and crazy driving methods were all strangely fascinating. Rome's legacy lies in its unbelievably long, rich history. The city as it is today is wonderful, but as I learned about this history, I marveled at how alive it still feels. I walked on ancient roads and saw ruins that were once government buildings and schools. I stood in the Colosseum and imagined being entertained by gladiators fighting lions. Though the structures were built thousands of centuries ago, these remnants will probably still be there centuries from now. It made me wonder how many buildings in America will last this long. What interested me the most was the history held within the stones, tiles, and dried paint that decorate Rome and the Vatican. I saw famous statues and a bust of the first Roman emperor to have facial hair, two spiral staircases that intertwine yet never meet, men who balance on sticks, the Trevi Fountain, mosaic floors, and Raphael's School of Athens, and countless magnificent ceilings. A ceiling that appears rounded but is flat, a blue ceiling, a golden ceiling, and a ceiling that was painted to look three-dimensional. Next was Florence, the city I was looking forward to the most because of the art. I was certainly not disappointed. Art was everywhere. It was where we ate lunch. On sides of buildings, in piazzas, and it was on a bridge late at night. The most impressive piece of art, however, is the Duomo. The size alone is astounding, but the pale colors and details are even more remarkable. It was difficult for me to wrap my head around the fact that a human being imagined such a thing. It's even more beautiful when the bells chime. While in Florence, we also walked along Il Fiume Arno, stood next to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, saw the Tuscan countryside, and visited a medieval town. Then we took a train to Venice. Venice is, as you probably know, a city built on water. The water completely defines the character of Venice, and honestly, that's pretty much all there is to talk about. Water is everywhere. We did get to see a fresh food market, which was cool, but the most remarkable thing about Venice is its canals. The canals vary in size and function, but I found that each one captured my interest because of what made it unique. And so ended our Italian travels. We went to Barcelona, which was much more modern and urban than the Italian cities we stayed in, but the architecture was just as beautiful. While in Barcelona, one of my friends had a single request, that we visit La Sagrada Familia, Gaudi's unfinished masterpiece. Maybe Gaudi planned on making his cathedral prettier and never got around to it, but as it stands today, it is not visually appealing. Still, I enjoyed looking at it. After Barcelona, we went to Bordeaux and stayed with friends of my friend's parents. I didn't film anything while we were there because it seemed too personal. So now we move on to Paris. While in Paris, we walked along yet another river, visited street-side bookstores, and saw Notre Dame. We visited the Louvre, the most impressive museum I have ever seen. This is only a very, very small part of it. There are many huge buildings like these, but most of the Louvre is underground. It is said that if a person visited 24/7 and spent 30 seconds looking at each piece with no breaks, it would take 100 days to see it all. And of course we saw the Eiffel Tower. Now I'm going to be honest, I was not initially blown away. Then I saw it at night, and that's when I truly thought it was pretty. Maybe even a bit romantic? The next morning we left Paris and Europe altogether. But I know that Europe will never leave me. That's my favorite thing about traveling. You get to keep your favorite parts, and they don't even take up any room in your suitcase. Honestly, the best part about my trip was sharing it with these two.
I can't do it!